gonna hit the next gripe. I don't
Can't
like it
wait.
when somebody DMs us and then they're almost asking us our opinion, but they don't wait for us to respond. It's almost like, hey, I wanted to get your opinion on pull-ups. And then you start to type back and then you see their three gray dots and you're like, hold on. And then they continue and they go, this is what I found on 17 other channels and 14 other special operators. I just want you to and then like, you're like, I don't know, man. It looks like they covered it. I don't have a whole lot I'm not a fitness expert. I don't claim to be an expert on anything other than, yeah, I know, right? Other than being a PJ and a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. I can verify those two things. I was a PJ and I have a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. I feel pretty confident about being 70% standard in both of those things. So that's about it. But when they hit us up and they're just like, oh yeah, what do you feel about this? And then you say anything, they're like, oh, well, 17 other people feel this way. I'm like, I don't have an answer for you, man. I don't have a black and white.
Are you like vetting me to see if, do you not think that I'm who I say I am?
Yeah. Why did you tee me up for a gotcha? Or were they like, hey, I want your comment on this really specific thing? Like, no, I don't have one. I don't care. I don't, that's not what I'm here for.
Have you seen this video and did you hear what this guy said about something? Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I don't care. Guess what? I don't care. And if I did, this isn't the place. That's the other thing too. And this whole episode, I think, will be a good like analysis of it. But like, people can't put two and two together that sometimes, like, when we're talking through one's ready, we're handling communication in a different way. We're in a different lane. And then when we're on ourselves in the team room, we're like, we handle communication in a completely different way, right? Like, with all the canceling that goes on today, it's funny that people are like, oh, well, Aaron, how do you really feel about this? I'm like, well, bro, I can't say there's no additional value that you would get from me telling you how I really feel about this, number one. And then number two, I could get canceled for that. You know what getting canceled is, right? It's saying those things out loud on the internet.
Well, I mean, there's 6 different ways to look at any different thing, right? Like, like
a million, yeah.
The way I felt yesterday about certain things, when I first saw it, and I have my emotional reaction first, like, right, recognize it, ride the wave, and then look through it, and I think on this podcast we typically try to lean into the positives and the nuance and see, if things are actually super bad, which sometimes they are, and then for the most part though, we're trying to illuminate the more positive aspects of being part of this community, right? And so it's not that I don't have negative opinions, and it's not that I'm not like just shilling for the Air Force, but I had a lot of positive experiences, and we just didn't see a ton of that out there. So that's what we're focusing on, but it doesn't mean that I don't have those other reactions.
It's like people can't have two ideas in their head at the same time. Like, of course, like, there's a million terrible things, right? I think I likened it to, I don't know, government agencies or whatever. Like, yeah, it's awesome to get a new ID card. It's not awesome the 4 hours waiting for it, but everybody knows that you do that. So there's no point focusing on the negative. It's just the outcome.
Yeah. Well, it's like I can have friends and people that I think are respectable human beings working at certain agencies too, and also think that these agencies might overall, or in certain instances, parts of that agency be doing things that I, wholly disagree with, just like the military, just like Microsoft, AT&T,
Right.
all these other people,
right.
Or the government in general. It's like, it's just a bunch of people, and there's different groups and different people, and they're all over the place doing crazy stuff.
Dude, speaking of really, really cool things that happened, did you see Milei in Argentina? He eliminated like 80% of his government for the first time in the government's history. He posted a surplus in the budget like a month into it because he like basically gutted every single government agency, and like magically he just balanced his budget with a surplus, and everybody's like, oh man, this fascist is killing us.
Oh no.
With your surplus funds.
It's so bad for our economy. Don't do it.
So bad. People want to come here now. It's much safer. Anyway, that'd be tight.
Do you know what else I don't like is the when you open up a DM.
Here we go.
And like I'll like, you'll see like the request or whatever, and I open it up and it's a fucking novel. I'm like,
you and I we're right here, bud. I was thinking about this earlier too. I was trying to find a way to distill it. There is nothing that you need to ask me that's going to take you more than a tweet. If you can't put it in 240 characters, 280 characters, whatever it is now on X, I don't care, man. Just boil it down, bro. Like, there is no amount of context and nuance. You know what it means when the message is this long? It means I'm not the right person to answer it. If it's this long, if you need this much nuance, that
Yeah.
means there's a subject matter expert somewhere that can understand all this, and it ain't me, homie. This is like legal stuff. Like when people are like, all right, so there's this really weird term, right? And it's in Latin, and it basically meant that the felony that I did isn't going to count. So here's like the 75, like, and you're just like, okay. So first of all, I don't, or like medical stuff. Like, oh, let me just give you the 3 rundowns of this medical problem I had back when I was 2 and what Genesis is saying now. Well, I'm like, shouldn't know that because HIPAA. And number 2, can't help because don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Want to know how to do an IFT? Hit your boy up.
Yeah. Also, you asked me 18 questions in a single DM. Like, bro, like,
is there anything more annoying than having to go through and like numbering your responses? All right, so like question 1, question 2, 2.
I'm like, question 1, join security forces. Question 2, join security forces. Question 3.